to team 4 for the collaboration theme. This team is called Climat-gration Team. They are made up of Chevening alumni from North and Central America, Costa Rica, Mexico, and Honduras. The presenter will be Edgardo García Chaves, and the questions will be answered by David Inda. So over to you, Climat-gration Team. Oh, Edgardo, I think you might be on mute. It was inevitable. There we go. Over to you. I'll start the timer now.
All right, thank you. In the last years, thousands of people from Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala have decided to leave their countries to begin their journey to the promised land, the United States. In caravans that can be up to 9,000 people, men, women, and children risk their lives in a path marked by violence and discrimination. The causes have evolved. Political instability, gang violence, or poverty are the best known reasons. However, one cause is becoming increasingly important in recent years: the rise in vulnerability caused by climate crisis. Historically, Central America has been heavily affected by natural events, but in recent decades, the negative effects of climate change have increased. According to German Watch Global Climate Risk Index, these countries rank first in terms of climate change risk, despite being responsible for only 0.5% of global emissions. The devastating effects of hurricanes and droughts have exacerbated conditions of poverty and violence, triggering migrant caravans to the United States. For example, in the dry corridor, an area that extends across the north of Central America, droughts have increased in recent years, affecting communities where 62% of the families depend on agriculture, 80% of the population lives under the line of poverty, and 25% suffer from food insecurity. Despite hundreds of cross-sectoral efforts and initiatives to address the problem, people still consider migrating as their only option, making evident the lack of appropriation and attachment to the projects and the territory. Next slide, please. This is why we propose a bottom-up participatory model to enable the community to lead their own project's design, and with this, increase their sense of belonging and appropriation in the short term, while creating the conditions to adapt to the climate change and improve their quality of life. Next slide, please. Using the methodology of design thinking, we seek to allow people to discover their opportunities, resources, and solutions that they can use to design prototypes for the challenge posed by climate crisis. Adaptable to different contexts, participatory design enable communities to engage in the implementation and management of their own projects, growing the sense of community, their common vision, and creating local leadership. Next slide, please. The implementation of this project will be based on a triangular cooperation model, where an international source of technical and financial support, such as the United Kingdom, grants funds and technical knowledge to facilitators with experience in the region from Costa Rica and Mexico, and in turn, they will transmit it to local leaders in the dry corridor. The stakeholders that we have in mind for this project are the Institute of Innovation and Public Purpose from University College London, the UK government, facilitators from Mexico and Costa Rica, as well as local communities in the Northern Triangle of Central America. UK expertise in this project will be essential, since organizations such as the IPP Institute have facilitated similar initiatives in the Dominican Republic. Our proposal may seem intangible at the first sight. We focus on participation and community empowerment on how projects are designed in the dry corridor. After conversations with local leaders that have been working in the area for years, we identified that the lack of appropriation and sense of belonging are the main problems that affect the success of initiatives oriented to tackle the new climate conditions. The Sustainable Development Goals and the COP26 objectives invite the global community to see in the active participation of communities and collaboration as tools to tackle the consequences of climate change. Committed to these ideals of well-being and sustainability, we propose this solution that will encourage the communities of the dry corridor to take lead in each project, and in the long term, build a territory where no one is left behind. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Edgardo. Great to see a migration-themed presentation there. Joanna, if we could have a question from you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so great presentation. Thank you very much. So, I really like the idea of the proposal of the bottom-up approach. So my question is actually, what is the suggestion on the approach on collaborating and coordinating from different local projects and initiatives to ensure the bottom-up approach will be able to achieve the maximum success?
Sorry, Joanna, can you repeat your question? Because I had some problems with the internet, sorry.
No problem. So yeah, so in the presentation, you suggest to use a bottom-up approach. So my question is, how would you suggest the approach to ensure the collaboration and coordination from the different projects or initiatives to ensure this bottom-up approach will be able to maximize the success for the initiative?
Right. Thank you, Joanna, for your question. Yes, as you mentioned, in bottom-up approaches is essential to create a management model where you have great communication with the local leaders and the local communities, okay? Because otherwise you won't have enough interaction and enough communication with these stakeholders. So usually what we have identified in previous projects in the dry corridor is that there's a gap between the local communities and the NGOs and the organizations that are working in these areas. So that's why we are proposing that the knowledge in design thinking will be transmitted from the facilitators from Mexico and Costa Rica to the local leaders who are going to be identified by a diagnostic that we will develop in the region. So identifying through the identification of local leaders, you will know who has legitimacy in the community to transmit this kind of initiatives, and they will lead the processes in the communities.